built in Vodahody, what was Czechoslovakia at the time, by the Aero Corporation, so it's known as Aero Vodahody, such as it would be called Chevrolet Michigan. And so they are the builders of this airplane. And back in the day when these first became available, they were very, very inexpensive. A lot of people picked these up. They'd even get a spare engine with it for about $100,000. A jet airplane.
Yeah, that was all taking place after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Now, with 4,000 pounds of thrust, just barely 4,000 pounds of thrust, welcome please to the 2009 Rhode Island National Guard Open House and Air Show, Geoff Hickman. The L-39 continues to be Russia's #1 trainer as a jet. Over a couple of thousand were delivered to the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union, between 1973 and 1989. And it's actually second in line of another Aero Vodahody trainer called the L-29. But they learned a lot. It is very, relatively agile. Now you've flown in this airplane, right?
I have flown that, not that particular one, but I have flown an L-39. Yep. And it's a great trainer. It reminds me a lot, appearance-wise, of the T-38 Talon, which I flew as the second airplane in order to get my wings in the Air Force. But that has two afterburning jet engines on board and is supersonically capable. So it's not exactly like the L-39. The L-39 does not fly a maximum speed that's supersonic, even though the wing looks like it could do that. But it's up there in the 450-mile-an-hour range. You're able to pull G's with this, and you get the feel of what it's like to be flying a jet fighter. And that's what it was used for as a trainer for folks going into MiG-21s and MiG-29s and advanced aircraft in the Soviet bloc nations. And Geoff, from the left. Here comes Hack.
Geoff Hickman's from Oak Park, Illinois. Now we say Hack. Now that means he's got a call sign. That means that he's former military. As a matter of fact, he's got quite a career with the United States.
He sure does. When you watched a couple of years ago, when you watched the F-16 demonstration, you were probably watching this man fly because he was the F-16 demo pilot for a couple of seasons, I think 2 seasons.
Yep.
And did a great job in that Viper airplane. And hopefully our weather's going to improve to the point where you'll be able to see the F-16 that is here flying for us today.
He's pulling about 5 Gs in that minimum radius turn that you see right there. And having a great deal of fun. He currently resides in Charlotte, North Carolina, but he's from Oak Park. He grew up near O'Hare Airport, watching the airplanes take off and land. Graduated from the United States Air Force Academy. He's got over 1,700 hours flying the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and now that he's out of the Air Force, he is having the time of his life. Still getting to fly a jet, and he's got such great skill. Coming in from the right.
Probably going to lay it on its side and give you a good plan-form view of the airplane. There's a good photo of that. Pull the nose on up. He's going to perform a full 360-degree making a 720 as he puts the nose of the airplane on a point out there on this cloudy horizon and rolls around that point.
Downright easy. He's also flown a very unique airplane that hasn't really seen any, has not seen any military service. Well, I guess the last country to have the F-104 Starfighter was Italy, I think, or something like that.
Or the Germans. They both had them right up to the bitter end. Very difficult aircraft to maintain, but one of the airplanes from the 60s that I always wanted the opportunity to fly, and of course never did. But it was a missile with a man inside.
That's what they called it. Yes, indeed. The Lockheed F-104 Starfighter, and this is, Hack is one of the few civilian pilots who has ever flown the missile with a man, and there are just about, I think, 3 or 4 of them flying in the country today.
Nice 4-point hesitation roll. Once again, Hack put the nose on a point on the horizon. He rolled around it, and every 90 degrees of rotation, he would stop the roll, fly it in that attitude for about a half a second or so, and continue on around in the 4 points.
The aircraft that Hack is flying today was actually built in 1983. And because it was used in the former Soviet Union, there aren't a lot of Americans who have significant maintenance time on it. But the guy who maintains this airplane is actually a former East German Air Force maintenance officer who worked on L-39s in East Germany when the Soviet Union existed. So you got the best maintained L-39 in the world right here.
That's for sure. And this is a super slow roll. Believe it or not, folks, this is one of the most difficult maneuvers to perform correctly. And when I say correctly, that doesn't mean success or failure. It means the technique and skill with how well it's performed against a standard slow roll. Because we have aerobatic competitions, and a team of judges, of 5 judges, takes a look at the performance that you're doing and how well you are performing that individual maneuver compared to the standard. And you heard about some of our aerobatic pilots being national competitors and advanced champions and international champions, unlimited champions. That's aerobatic competition. That's where judges are watching how well you fly. A loop, is it a round loop when you climb straight vertically? Are you going straight up, or are you tilted off to one side or another? So that slow roll that you saw is one of the most difficult to perform correctly. And here comes Hack in that photo pass I was telling you about. Put your cameras on the L-39.
Compared to an F-16 Fighting Falcon, he is in a grossly underpowered airplane. The F-16 Fighting Falcon, as you'll see hopefully a little bit later on today, somewhere around 27 to 29,000 pounds of thrust from a single jet engine. So if the airplane is lightweight, it can actually accelerate going straight up. The L-39 actually is a little bit heavier in terms of its, a little bit worse in terms of its thrust-to-weight ratio, with a 4,000 pound of thrust turbofan engine. It weighs maximum takeoff weight about 15,000 pounds. Empty, it's already almost more than twice the thrust of the engine. So it doesn't have near the power, but coming in from the left in what they call a dirty configuration.
Now, when you say dirty like that, you don't mean that he's picked up a lot of bugs as he's flying around here.
He probably has, but
it means aerodynamically dirty. He's got some things sticking out in his wings, and there's certain airflow around the wings of the airplane. So that's what makes it aerodynamically dirty. Now he's sucked up the gear, he's retracted it, and he's gone away in the clean configuration. And it looks like Hack is going to turn the aircraft around to the right. Now he's just off the center line of the airport, so that tells me that he's going to continue this turn around and come back from behind us once again in another photo pass. He'll be coming along runway 34. A lot of folks ask us why we number runways at airports around the world instead of calling it Larry Galogly Highway or something like that. We'll tell you about that in a minute. Here comes Hack from the right once again in a beautiful photo pass. Put your cameras on the L-39.
Geoff Hack Hickman, former F-16 General Pilot, Air Force Academy graduate. He flew F-16s, Wild Weasel F-16s. Now, Wild Weasels are basically bait for surface-to-air missiles.
Yeah, targets. I'm going to light up your radar, come shoot me. Except once you light up your radar to find me, to shoot a missile at me, guess what's going to happen?
I can find you too.
I can find you too, and one of the missiles that I have seeks radar energy, and it's going to come down and make your day a short one.
Those are the things that happen. Geoff actually accrued 269 combat hours over Iraq and the former Yugoslav Republic. His last tour, again, the Viper East demo pilot. Watch for the brakes. Let's see if he's going to land to the north or the south. He's going to land north. Going to find out which way he's going to land. We've got kind of a situation where we've got a long enough runway that they can land either way, favoring the north. And
he's actually going to land into the wind, I believe, on runway 34.
You know, that's an interesting. You mentioned runway 34.
I did. And
let's explain how they number the runway.
Let's do that, because that convention is used all over the world on all runways at every airport, even if it's on the side of a hill in Argentina somewhere. And what we do is we number runways by the compass heading of it. And this is runway 34 going from right to left. So if you put a 0 on that, that's 340 degrees by the compass. So if it was 360 degrees, runway 36, it would be headed due north. The other direction, due south. This one is 16 and 34. So that's why we do that. That's the compass heading. So when Hack rolls out on his final approach, aligned with the runway, he should be seeing that compass heading on 340, because he's landed on runway 34. Yeah, I know, you're saying, well, I've been to big airports where they have parallel runways. Which one is runway 22? And the other one's got to be runway 22 also. They're parallel. So it's 22 left and 22 right. And you say, well, I've been to Detroit, they've got 3 up. Guess what? 22 center. That's how that works. So he's landed on runway 34, and right now his compass is reading 340. We hope.
To the nearest 10 degrees magnetic direction.
If it's not, he ought to get the compass fixed, right?
Right. Now, runway 16. Same hunk of pavement, it's the reciprocal or opposite direction on the compass.
And that's an easily done mathematical calculation, because it's you add 100, well, add 200 and then you subtract 20, or it's 100. Anyway, it's runway 16.